My name is Josie Murphy, and 2 months ago I sent in my paperwork to LuLaRoe. A lot happened really fast. LuLaRoe emailed me back, and I was added to my team, several team pages. I was immediately pestering my sponsor with all my questions. What was I doing? What was going on? And then something unexpected happened. I was in my email from LuLaRoe and in the team files, what to do next, and the list from my sponsor. It told you what you needed to do to get ready for that phone call that they were gonna, when they called you and told you you were officially a consultant. I would have expected, how much plans to get the money together, or develop a business plan, or where to buy hangers, where to buy racks, make your business cards. Those are things I would expect to see at the top of the list. But instead, the first instruction on every list was find your why. And I was amazed, shocked. I was like, what is this why? Never heard of this. Been working my whole life. What do they mean? And there's tons of videos and whatnot, so I figured it out. The why is what makes LuLaRoe different from so many companies out there. It's not about profits. It's not about your successes, your goals. It's not about earning a cruise. It's about you, me, the consultant. My why. You need to know your why to be successful. Well, my why's pretty easy. It's kind of a story. So it is a story. Many years ago, when I had dreams. Originally, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a teacher. And then around the time I got married, 11 years ago, I decided I wanted to be a cop. So I get married in June of 2005, and I enroll in school, and I start working on my degree. Then Christmas 2005, my husband and I are sitting in our living room, and at this point, he's in the Marine Corps, and we are stationed in Patuxent River, Maryland. That is the podunk of towns. Nothing there. Nothing. It's just a base and some houses. I mean, it's pretty backwoods, I guess. So that's where we're at, and I'm sitting on the couch and drinking a diet soda. I was like, this is really nauseous. I'm nauseous. And I told my husband, this has been happening a lot. Every time I try drinking diet soda, it makes me really nauseous. And he just looks at me, and I look at him, and it's like, no. I was told I couldn't get pregnant. So, we're like, that must be it. And sure enough, I'm pregnant. So we're ecstatic. I mean, being told you can't and then accidentally do is pretty awesome. So I continue with my degree. I'm working for JCPenney's in the jewelry department, and I love what I'm doing. My husband and I are doing great. He's working a ton, don't get me wrong, a lot of hours, but it was good. And then July 11th, 2006, my son is born. And he was gasping for breath and really struggling just to be at that moment. So the doctors see that, of course, and they rush him out of the room. And it's about an hour before my husband actually goes and tracks them down to figure out what's going on, because we're left there not knowing what's going on. And they come in, and they have these really somber faces, really serious, sad eyes. And the doctor, the pediatrician, actually, they had called in and said, we're 99% sure that your son has Down syndrome. And first reaction was grief. I mean, Kevin and I cried. We were crying so hard when my sister walked in, she thought Chris had died. Because, at the moment, that's what we were dealing with. I was 22 years old. Kevin was 20. And this was, our life had just started. And we were told we were clear. I had a false negative on the screening test. And so grief was the first. And then they take him to another hospital, one that could handle him, Bethesda, Maryland. I followed soon after, and while I'm processing, the next feeling that came over me within about a few days was anger. Why me? Why us? Again, 22 years old. This doesn't happen to 22-year-olds. This is what you hear happening to 40-year-olds. There's no one at any side of our family that has a child with Down syndrome. But why did God choose me? And it took a while. I saw somebody, and I had to learn that it was okay to be mad and angry and grieve over the child that I thought I had, so that I can make room for this child that I did have. And then it turned to acceptance. I learned everything I could about Down syndrome. I became pretty much an expert. Everything I would have to face, success stories, sad stories, awesome stories, just what my life was going to look like. I knew then, probably before then, that I was no longer going to be a police officer. I knew that my life was different. So about 2 weeks after that, my son and I get flown to San Diego for surgery. I'm sitting there. He was in surgery for 5 hours, and I was alone. And it was, I think, at that point that I realized that acceptance had turned into absolute head over heels love. And when that baby came out of surgery, everything was different. I realized that I didn't want a normal child. Normal. I didn't want the child that everybody else had. I wanted this little boy. This little boy was mine. And he is the best thing that happened to everybody in my life. Together, Chris and I would go on to survive 2 deployments. He made me whole. He would hold me when I was crying. He had a picture of his dad that he would just stare at when he was gone. He was my rock. We were each other's rock. When Kevin came home, he came home to a walking toddler, and which was it was awesome. I mean, so fast forward to 2013. Kevin and I are now back in Alaska. He's done his 5 years in the Marine Corps. I'm working I'm an electronics manager for a local store. My husband has quit his job as a truck driver, so he did when he first got up here, and is going to school to be an engineer, a geomatics engineer. So things are going good. We have 2 kids now. We have a 7-year-old, and we have Chris, 7, and we have Declan, who is 5, and I'm pregnant with a baby girl. Declan had just started kindergarten, and we weren't blind. We did notice something was a little off with our boy, and then we were told by other people that something was off. He was getting services for speech delay. His behavior had been rough, to say the least, but we just thought he was a hard kid, and then things would get better. So then kindergarten, he is crying himself to sleep at night, and I'm like, what's going on? The kids are all mean to him, doesn't have friends. It's 5, right? We go into the school, have a meeting. Anyways, long story short, eventually we realized that our kid has autism. Mild form, high functioning autism, I believe is the term. Used to be called Asperger's. And that changes just about everything, because this is no longer he's spoiled. It's something that is never going to go away, and he's going to be hard forever. Might be fully functional, what was going to happen in his life. We just knew that right now he's a really hard kid, and it has not changed to this day. So then that's all right. We're moving on. We're getting him services, getting help. Kira's born 2013, December 23rd, 2013, and she's perfect. 10 fingers and toes. She's everything. She's very well behaved, really cries, super affectionate, loving. She bosses her big brothers around. When I was pregnant with her, my doctor said, given her brothers, this girl's going to have to be 10 times stronger. She's going to be incredibly sweet and caring and a mother in her own right to your boys, even though she's so much younger. And totally true. At 2, she probably puts them in the corner more than I do, though we don't actually let her do that, but she does try. Anyways, we had already tried daycare. We had tried multiple nannies. My mom had volunteered to take the kids when Kevin was at school, and that's how we were managing at this point. Then, when she's about a year old, God drops a special surprise in our lap. Not on a baby, no, done babies. We, 14-year-old, actually he was 13 at the time, a 13-year-old, and who needed a home desperately. He needed to be loved. He needed a family. We said yes. And I ended up with a teenager. So that proved to be harder than I expected. We had his 2 diagnoses. One is FAS, and the other one is called RAD. It's an attachment disorder. So those proved to be challenging. Our children are worth it, and that's what we do. So at this point, Kevin's still in school. I actually ended up getting fired from Fred Meyer's, and I ended up working for a local community services organization, working with individuals with disabilities, which I loved. I loved my job, way better than Fred. I didn't even know what I was missing by working retail for so long. It was still Monday through Friday, working, I think it was 8 to 5 every day. And 8 to 4, I don't know, something. Anyways, it was fun and really rewarding. You leave day and you just leave at the end of the day and just feel good about what you had done that day. But I'd started to see some things going on at home. School was struggling for Declan, even though he's incredibly bright. Jared was getting into things, that's my 14-year-old. Jared was getting into things that he didn't need to be getting into, being in middle school and all. And then we were having trouble with Chris and accidents, and Kira was getting more reserved. I think the 3 strong, demanding brothers that she has makes her, because she's so good, she gets overlooked. And while she has no special needs, because her brothers do, she is the one who sacrifices the most out of my 4 kids. So at this point, my life is a precariously stacked row of dominoes. The dominoes: marriage, Down syndrome, autism, toddler, troubled teenager, Kevin's school, my career, whichever one it was at the time, and we were managing, right? And I thought we were okay. We can do this, right? I'm already picturing what my future's going to be like at the company I was working with. And Kevin is halfway through his degree, and picturing what life is going to be like as an engineer. And our kids were managing, so we thought. And then I'm at work, and I get a text message from my mother, and she says, I can't do this anymore. They're too hard. They're too much. They need their mother. So I put my notice in. School had been getting out of control. Declan was in tears almost every night. Jared was struggling with his academics. He was so far behind. So I called my husband. We had a really short talk because he's super supportive and trusts everything I do. So I told him I needed to homeschool our children, except for Chris. So I pulled Declan and Jared from school, quit my job, came home, and that's where we are. So for the last year, that's what we've been doing. But I never envisioned myself as a stay-at-home mom. I respect stay-at-home moms. I love stay-at-home moms. I love what they do. I just, I like a certain comfort, and 2 incomes is required to meet that comfort. And I like being busy. I like having a purpose. I like having goals. I like having a mission. And homeschool helped with that for a little bit, get them, teach them this, accomplish this, get grades turned in, everything that you need to do to be successful. So I cherished what I was doing, and it was really good. But there was something missing, and I knew there was something missing. And it took it was almost a revelation. I'm scrolling through Facebook, and one of my friends sells LuLaRoe, and she's talking about what it meant to her, and I was like, what is this? And I have, heard of many direct sales companies. I have friends that sell Pampered Chef, Jamberry, my niece sells Mary Kay. It's not the first I've heard of it, but it never spoke to me because this is something I wanted to do. And then LuLaRoe just screamed, look at me. So I Googled and researched and looked into it. Even before I had, a sponsor picked out, I knew, what to expect, what was expected of me, what the business was about, its message. And I really believed in it. And then I reached out to my friend and said, hey, you want to be my sponsor? So kind of shocked her, so she didn't even know I was considering it. Then it was like, I changed. All of a sudden I was excited, and I felt driven and happy. I mean, every waking moment I'm looking up things and planning out what I'm going to do and figuring out like steps in my life where I'm going to go. And what the best part was is I didn't have to give up anything to achieve this goal. My children will still have me home. I'll still be able to homeschool them. I will not have to leave them except for occasional pop-ups. I will still be the mother that I want to be, the mother I need to be, the mother they need me to be. But at no sacrifice to them. And that's important. They're important. But I am too. And this filled all of those requirements that I needed and I never thought was possible. So that is an extremely cliff-noted version of my story. And now you know a lot more about me. Not everything, but a lot more. So my whys. My why number 1 is Christopher William. He loves Five Finger Death Punch, Snuggles, and YouTube. He is not Down syndrome. He is amazing. He is not what his diagnosis is. He has changed more lives in his 10 years than I will ever change in my life. He gives the softest, sweetest kisses and is single-handedly the best person at making you feel like you are the most important person in the world. My why number 2 is Declan Allen. He is brilliant and creative. He is passionate. He is my hardest child to raise, but he is the one I'm closest to. I have cried with him in my arms and comforted each other as we go through this long journey. I cherish his successes. This boy is off the charts brilliant. Once you can get past the issues he has, he's scoring, 800% on tests that are 2 grade levels above his age. He's remarkable and hard. So being home has changed him into happier. The depression is gone. He's feeling confident again. He's starting to make friends and feel safe making friends. His life is changing. And so happy that I was able to do that. My why number 3 is my daughter, Kira Brian. My only daughter. She is incredibly sweet and kind and so very, very smart. She is so easy that she ends up being left in the background. I don't want her to grow up living with being in the background. I want her to know that the spotlight is on her, even though her brothers are a challenge. And now that I'm home, I have the energy to balance them. Before, when I was working, I'd get home and have 2 hours before their bedtime to juggle all 4 of them. And she was always left in the dark. And now I get to spend time with her, you know, especially when the boys are working on school, Chris is at school, and her and I just play and we love and we read, and she's flourishing under having that attention she was missing. My why number 4 is my newest and oldest child, Jared Terrence. Our relationship has grown so much over the last year and a half. He has worked hard, really hard, on improving his relationship with us and to help with his issues. His homeschool has helped him. When we first got him, he could barely read, and he is reading Harry Potter for fun. I mean, he's just grown, literally, you know, he's grown in all of his language skills, and he talks better, and just everything has gotten so much better with me being home. Our relationship has also improved. Spending that time together has helped us bond as much as he can, and I am totally invested and love that boy like I've had him my whole life. I tell him often that he was always meant to be ours, always. We just weren't ready for him yet. My why number 5 is my husband of 11 years. We've been together since we were teenagers. He has never doubted me or what I'm capable of in any endeavor. When I wanted to be a store director, he supported me even though I was working like closing shifts. When I decided to go work with individuals with disabilities, even though it was completely off my radar, what I usually did, totally supportive. When I gave him that phone call, called him and said, hey, you're going to be the sole support of this family, he's like, all right. You know, it never wavered. When I said I wanted to homeschool, which meant the kids were home all the time, never wavered. When I told him about this company he'd never even heard of, and what I wanted to do with it and how much it cost to get started, wavered a second. We had to talk a lot. He trusted and supported and listens as I blabber on and on about it. Walks in, the first thing he says is, did you get your call yet? He is my partner in life in all of these crazy adventures we've had and are going to have. Without him, I wouldn't be here. Without him, I wouldn't be home with my kids. Without him, I never would have considered starting my own business. My why number 6, and this probably embodies the why of LuLaRoe better than any of the others that I listed, and that is me, Josie May. I am before LuLaRoe, I felt lost. Felt like I had sacrificed something, and I don't want to feel that way about my kids. But I did. I felt like I was missing, you know, part of who I was. My identity had changed to become mother and homeschool teacher and wife. But that was my identity, and I never thought that would be my identity. And now it's not just that anymore. I can still be home with them. I can still be mom and homeschool mom and wife. And I can still do it as well as I was doing it before. I can still go to all the appointments. I can go to Chris's events at his school. I can teach my children and control their education, and I can be their support, what they need from me, and not sacrifice anything. And that is incredible. I will have my own business that's mine. I'm my own boss. I make my own decisions. I will be able to set my own hours. I will be doing something I love and wearing clothes that I feel great in. I will be more of the person I always wanted to be. I'd be able to fill all the hats that I want and feel successful in my life. And maybe make some money doing it. We'll see. But the point is that you know, I matter too. Every mom matters. Every woman matters. You don't have to necessarily give up on your dreams no matter what life throws at you. And life has thrown me a lot. And I hope I've taken it with grace. But this is my future. And I cannot wait to start my journey down LuLaRoe. And I am blessed, beyond blessed, that LuLaRoe is out there, that their message matches mine. They're here to strengthen families, to strengthen mothers, you know, to help create financial independence. LuLaRoe, you have changed my life. And for that, I will forever be grateful.